People don't hate you, they fear you. And most people will never admit that out loud, not even to themselves. They'll disguise it as dislike, as distance, as passive-aggressive behavior. But beneath it is fear. Fear of what you see, fear of what you understand, fear of what your presence silently exposes in them. If you're new here, welcome to Dark Mode Psychology. Make sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss the deeper truths about human nature. Now, here's something most people never realize. Human beings don't fear monsters. They fear mirrors. And if you've ever been treated coldly, unfairly, or distant for no clear reason, chances are you've acted as a mirror to someone who wasn't ready to see their own reflection. Think about someone who has ever pulled away from you after you simply told the truth, calmly, gently, even respectfully. They didn't get angry at your words. They got angry at the version of themselves your words revealed. Being around a person who sees clearly, who can't be manipulated, who doesn't play along with emotional games, makes insecure people deeply uncomfortable. They fear losing control. They fear being exposed. They fear being seen. And sometimes your presence alone does that. Most people spend their entire lives crafting masks, the confident mask, the humble mask, the always calm mask, the I have it together mask. Masks aren't bad. We all wear them. But you have a rare, unnerving ability to see through masks without even trying. Maybe you notice micro-expressions. Maybe you sense emotional shifts. Maybe you catch lies before they land. Or maybe your silence forces people to reveal themselves. Whatever the case, you disrupt illusions. And nothing terrifies illusion builders more than someone who can see the cracks. People rarely fear your behavior. They fear what your behavior triggers inside them. You can walk into a room and unintentionally shake up the entire emotional structure simply because you're not seeking approval. People who depend on external validation feel threatened by those who don't need it. It's like you're playing a different psychological game entirely, one they don't know the rules to. When you're grounded, calm, and observant, people project their insecurities onto your silence. They think you're judging them. They think you're analyzing them. They think you see more than you're saying. And sometimes you do. It's strange how the human mind works. A person who never raises their voice can still make someone else feel attacked. A person who doesn't argue can still make someone feel exposed. A person who simply speaks honestly can be labeled intimidating. But here's the twist. Intimidation is not always about aggression. Sometimes it's about clarity. Sometimes it's about emotional stability. Sometimes it's about being the one person who isn't controlled by insecurity. You become a psychological disruptor, quiet, steady, and impossible to manipulate. And that scares people who rely on manipulation to feel powerful. Picture this. You're talking to someone who exaggerates their achievements because insecurity drives their need to impress. You don't praise them. You don't challenge them. You just stay neutral. Suddenly, they start acting weird. They pull back. They avoid you. They label you as hard to read, cold, or arrogant. But none of that is true. What's true is that your neutrality stripped away their illusion of superiority. They lost control of the narrative, and losing control terrifies them. Here's the deeper psychology. When someone feels inferior around you, Their mind will create a story to protect their ego. That story often sounds like, I don't like them. They think they're better than me. There's just something off about them. But underneath the story is something much more honest. I feel small around them, and I don't know why. Your presence becomes a spotlight, and people who don't want to be seen will run from the light. There's another layer to this, something more subtle, almost hidden. When you know yourself deeply, your values, your boundaries, your emotional limits, other people can't easily influence you. They can't sway your opinions with pressure. They can't guilt-trip you into compliance. They can't use confusion or chaos to get what they want. This level of inner stability is rare, and rare things make people uncomfortable. When someone can't predict you, they can't control you. And when they can't control you, they fear you. This doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means you're evolving faster than the people around you. People who haven't confronted their own darkness often fear those who have. When you're comfortable with uncomfortable truths, when you've learned to observe instead of react, when you speak with emotional precision instead of emotional chaos, you become a psychological force that others don't know how to handle. Ever wonder why someone might talk louder around you? Why they exaggerate more? Why they suddenly get defensive when you simply ask a question? It's because your calmness disrupts their internal storm. Your presence unmasks their anxiety. Your steadiness exposes their instability. You don't even have to point it out. They feel it. Another uncomfortable truth. People fear what they can't predict. And unpredictable doesn't mean inconsistent. It means unreadable by their usual tactics. They can't guilt you. They can't provoke you. They can't manipulate your self-esteem. They can't pressure you with group dynamics. You just stay centered. Most people rely on emotional shortcuts to understand others. If someone is loud, they label them as confident. If someone is quiet, they label them as weak. If someone is agreeable, they label them as friendly. But you don't fit into their shortcuts. Your silence isn't weakness. Your calm isn't compliance. Your independence isn't arrogance. And that breaks their mental model of how people are supposed to behave. They fear what they can't categorize. And then there's this. You see patterns. You notice behavioral inconsistencies. You sense when something doesn't add up. People who thrive on pretending, on crafting personal narratives, emotional traps, or manipulative dynamics can feel when someone like you is in the room. Your awareness acts like a psychological alarm. They don't hate you for it. They fear you because of it. Now here's the deeper twist. Sometimes people fear you because you remind them of a version of themselves they abandoned years ago. A version that was brave, observant, intuitive, and honest. A version they buried under expectations, social pressure, and insecurity. You are, without knowing it, a living reminder of their potential. But instead of rising to meet it, they retreat. People fear those who show them what they could be, but chose not to be. And let's not ignore the emotional tension this creates inside you. It's confusing when you haven't wronged anyone, yet they pull away. It's frustrating when you're kind, but people misinterpret your intentions. It's isolating when you walk into a room and feel the atmosphere shift for reasons you can't quite understand. But you're not imagining it. There is psychology behind it. Humans are wired to monitor threat long before they monitor connection. And a threat doesn't have to be physical. A threat can be emotional. A threat can be intellectual. A threat can be psychological. Someone who sees too much is a threat. Someone who isn't easily influenced is a threat. Someone who carries themselves with quiet strength is a threat. People don't hate you. They fear the version of themselves they become when they stand next to you. They fear feeling judged, even when you're not judging. They fear being exposed, even when you're not exposing anything. They fear being understood, even when you're just listening. But here's the surprising part. The people who fear you the most are often the ones who secretly admire you. They wish they had your emotional control. They wish they had your self-respect. They wish they had your clarity, your independence, your intuition. But admiration mixed with insecurity often turns into distance, not closeness. So the next time someone reacts strangely to you, pulls away, acts cold, becomes defensive, remember this. Their reaction says more about their inner world than it says about your character. You're not too much. You're just more than they're used to. You're not intimidating. They're just unprepared. And you're not disliked. You're misunderstood and often deeply respected in ways people won't admit. If you found this eye-opening, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights from dark mode psychology.